Good morning and welcome to today's morning report with me, Rich Perry, market analyst at Handtech Markets on Wednesday the 5th of November. The European session has started on a positive note. Certainly that's come on the back of these midterm elections in the States that are now out of the way. That removes the uncertainty, and the stats certainly suggest that once the midterm elections in the States are out of the way, then positivity certainly does return to the markets with significant gains in the next 90 days following on from the midterm elections. Historically speaking, that tends to be the case, and certainly the futures in the States have rebounded overnight, and that's being seen in the European session. The DAX is up 1.2% now, FTSE only 0.7% higher, and the CAC 0.9%. We're also seeing an improvement in the dollar once again, and that is certainly helping to unwind a lot of the downside that we saw yesterday in the dollar index. That dollar index is now back up again. It's looking to break out once more. We're seeing strong moves higher today in the yen, for example. Also the euro is in a big correction mode, and sterling. But also there's a big move to the downside on the gold price, and I'll focus on those throughout the chart analysis that I'm going to do in a bit. But certainly the dollar is making a significant comeback today. We're having, through the European session, we're having the series of Eurozone Services PMIs come out, and they've been a bit mixed. Spain basically flattened in line. Italian Services PMI was slightly better actually. France was broadly flat and in line, but the German number actually missed expectations, and that has hit the euro since then. And I'll show you that in the euro chart in a bit. Just in on the broad eurozone basis, there's been actually a slight miss on the European Services PMIs, but in terms of the composite number, which brings together all the manufacturing and services data, that's actually slightly improved on the September number, up to 52.1 from 52.0 in September. That moves us on to the UK Services PMI, which is out at 9:30 this morning. 58.5 is the expectation there. And the UK Services PMI certainly has been a big driver for the UK recovery economically, and it certainly looks like it's going to be holding up fairly well. 58.7 last month, so no real change there. Then into the afternoon, we've got the US ADP data, the employment data that comes out 2 days before non-farm payrolls. This is both non-farm payrolls and the ADP chart, and you can see that there is a slight, certainly a correlation between the two, although it seems as though that non-farm payrolls is much more volatile than the ADP number. But the ADP number is expected to improve to 220,000 this afternoon, so that would bode fairly well, I think, for non-farm payrolls on Friday. And then at 3 o'clock this afternoon, we've also got the US non-manufacturing PMI, which is the equivalent of the service sector PMI in the UK and Europe. And that's expected to also just dip slightly back to 58, but certainly looks like it's still a fairly strong number there. So lots going on today that can move the markets. But my chart of the day has been, is the DAX, and the thing that interested me overnight was the fact that the DAX has corrected back. It had a strong move out on Friday, but in the last couple of days we've had a correction of around about 1.7%, I think, in the DAX. But it's filled that gap now. 157 was the fill. 9157 was the fill, and it certainly filled that. On a basis yesterday, on an intraday basis, but then closed above the gap, which is a bullish development. And today the strong open on the DAX is also a positive. So it certainly looks like it's continuing this recovery phase that we're in. I could draw an uptrend, but it only really touches one other low, so it's not a great uptrend. But certainly you could suggest that there is a bit of an uptrend channel going on at the moment, and what we're seeing is further gains, and just using that breakout as the basis of support. That gap's now filled, so that it should now rally to retest that high at 9344, and subsequently on towards, certainly I think that the next real resistance, which is around about that 9,400 level, which is if I zoom out, it's a bit of an old pivot level through the last year or so on the DAX. So it certainly looks like that is going to be the next test. In terms of momentum indicators, the MACD lines continue to unwind. Nothing majorly positive yet, and the stochastics have just rolled over, but certainly they are in positive territory, and the RSI is also just holding up fairly well as well. So sort of mixed to positive, I would say, that on the momentum indicators, but nothing majorly long-term positive as yet. But it certainly looks like this recovery in the DAX continues to go. Now, in terms of support, you'd certainly say that reaction low from yesterday, 9148, is the initial support. But then below that, if I show you on the intraday chart, that was the closing or the filling of that gap. And then you wouldn't want to see the DAX below that 8900 mark, which is that reaction low there. So a few levels to look out for. Also on the intraday chart on the DAX, I like the fact that what we've seen is the intraday hourly momentum indicators all unwind back to the levels that they'd seen throughout these last couple of lows on the 27th and the 30th of October. Basically RSI coming back towards there, and MACD lines unwinding to neutral, stochastics also coming back to a level. So it certainly looks like the market is ready for the next leg higher, and I think that's what we're going to be seeing. Anyway, I wish you good luck in your trading on the DAX today, and I will speak to you later. Thank you.